And the Buddha existed in this weird state for 29 years until the gods finally said, this is ridiculous, and sent 4 of their own number disguised as a sick man, an old man, a corpse, and a monk. And these disturbing sights to a young man who'd never seen any suffering before, so struck him that he left home that very night to seek a cure for the pain of the world. And this is what you're going forth to heal pain as well as to achieve your enlightenment, and the two are one. But Buddhism is a very psychological religion, and I think that image of the grounds guarded is a wonderful image of the mind in denial. We all want to think that suffering happens out there, far away, that it doesn't touch us. We want to keep it at bay. And so we hold it at bay and think suffering has nothing to do with us. And the pain of the world has nothing to do with me and my privileged little enclave. But suffering will always break in. And if you allow it to break in and to break your heart, then you are on the road to enlightenment. And the story then goes on that the Buddha eventually achieved enlightenment, of course, and afterwards he was sitting under his Bodhi tree and thought, well, this is nice. And the thought occurred to him that perhaps he should teach his method. And he thought, no, I don't want to do that. It's going to be far too depressing because people don't really want to give up their egos. I'm just going to sit here. And at this point, Brahma, the highest of the gods, gave a terrible cry. From his highest heaven, he came down to earth and knelt. The god kneels before the enlightened man, and he says, Lord, please preach your teaching, your method, because the world is lost if you don't. The world will be utterly lost. And he said, look at the world. And the Buddha, it says, looked at the world with an eye of a Buddha, which is not someone impervious, but he sees with the compassionate eye, and he sees a world in pain. And for the next 40 years, the Buddha tramped the roads of India with his monks, trying to teach them a way of dealing with their pain. And that idea that enlightenment, sometimes people just want to hug their religion to themselves. It's very prevalent in the West at the moment with New Age and stuff, that you get a nice warm glow and you don't want to sort of mess up with other people. And we even have that, and you don't want to sort of mess up with other people. And we even have that a little bit in the compassion movement. I was asked to say, what is a compassionate city? And I said, an uncomfortable city. Because it's a city that sees pain and is disturbed by it. And there were people who didn't like that at all. They were hoping compassion would make everything lovely. And it will certainly improve matters, but there must be that grain of discomfort, that little grain of discomfort, because it's like the grain of sand in the oyster that creates the pearl, that irritant that creates the precious pearl. Now, I'm finishing now I wrote a book called 12 Steps to a Compassionate Life. And you won't know anything about this in Indonesia, you Muslims, but there's a program in the West for alcoholics. And they wean themselves away from their addiction by this 12-step method, which people who've done it say is a really spiritual experience. It means coming to yourself and going out to others, and it has to go very deep. And I did it quite deliberately, do it in 12 steps, because I think we're addicted to our pet hates. We don't know what we'd do without them. I mean, sometimes I see mutinous expressions crossing people's faces, saying, gosh, can't I ever again say something unpleasant about my ex-wife, or my boss, or that country with whom we're at war. And we depend upon our enemies sometimes for our sense of self. They are everything we're not. And often we meditate on the the awfulness of our, we're supposed to be meditating on holy